Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. In case we haven't met yet, we are Doula Duo Incorporated. This is Amy McNabb, and I'm Elizabeth Boyd, and we are birth and postpartum doulas, as well as sleep consultants. So we're here to talk to you today about infant sleep. Oh, someone's coming in. Hi, Ashley. And we encourage you, we have a short presentation, but we also encourage you to answer and ask questions as much as you like throughout the presentation. We really wanted to talk about infant sleep because we think it's not so at this stage with infants, it's not so much about getting sleep. We really want you to do that too, but this presentation was created so that you know what to expect. If you don't have realistic expectations, then you're not going to feel like you're succeeding. Whereas if you have the information ahead of time and know what to expect, and it's just more fair for everyone, including the baby. So we're going to start off.
Share our screen.
Share the screen. This is our first Mighty, so welcome. Might be a little learning curve here. Uh,
I tried to put Jackson in his crib for a nap.
Oh, how did that go?
Let's see. How can I turn that? Can I turn this? Let's see. He's awake.
that's okay.
Well, that's okay. Here we go. Share. I couldn't find it. I don't know why. Shares, or we're just going to share a screen.
But he was sleeping in the car on the way home, so I know he's tired. We just had a short drive, so
Can you see the presentation, Ashley?
sure can.
Okay, I'm just going to see if I can make it bigger so that everybody doesn't see my whole. Yeah. Okay, so now you can see just the presentation, not my whole screen, right?
Right.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Oh, why won't it? Oh,
There we go.
Okay.
Can you see me or
Yes, we can see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're muted, but that's okay because you can just unmute when you want to talk.
Oh, okay.
So the first and most important thing, actually, I've got a glare on my glasses, so well, then I can't see. Oh boy. Okay, so the first and most important thing is following safe sleep guidelines. So these are the guidelines recommended for newborns. Basically, it's the ABCs of sleep. So the baby should be sleeping alone on their back in a crib. We say crib, but it could also be a pack and play, or a bassinet. So something with a hard surface, no blankets, pillows, no bumper pads, no toys. Um, Research now still says that it is safest for babies to be on their back to sleep. When they start rolling over, then that's a different conversation. And that's something we're going to talk about in our next presentation, which is, what's the date of that one, Amy?
May 16th, so
May
next
16th,
Friday
next
at
Friday
1 p.m.
At 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about from the 4-month on stage. So that's Ashley that's joining us. That's where I know she'll want to join us for that one as well. So firm, hard surface, nothing in the crib. Swaddle them until they start rolling, and then you're going to use the sleep sack. So room sharing until 6 months to a year, keeping the room cool. If you'd like to use a pacifier, you can. And obviously being smoke and vape free, being drug and alcohol free increases your chances of successful sleep, decreases the risk of SIDS. There is still a lot of research to be done on SIDS. It's still a topic that I think people don't necessarily understand. And there is a lot of information that can go both ways, such as with the swaddling. So I've done a little bit of research because I want to do a blog post on this, which you can see on our website. Because there's two sides to that coin. So we're not going to talk about that today. That will come in the future, but yeah, basically those are our basics. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say that having the right expectations and understanding what is normal and to be expected for a newborn is going to set you guys up for better success because babies really are not equipped to sleep the same as we are. Biologically, they just aren't. When they come out, for those first few weeks, they don't even understand that they're a separate being from you. So they want to be held all the time. They want to be close, and it's good for them. They don't produce their own melatonin, which is the hormone that helps us sleep. Breast milk does contain melatonin, particularly at night. So if you're breastfeeding or giving your baby a bottle of breast milk, one helpful tip is to label that milk that it was pumped at night, and it will have a little bit more melatonin in it. And then once melatonin does start to be naturally produced, it is triggered by darkness and having a sleep routine. So having that sleep routine and putting the baby to sleep in the dark helps with melatonin creation. They don't have a circadian rhythm. They don't know that it is 12 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So when you often hear the expression of having their days and nights mixed up, well, they're not really mixed up. It's just that there is no such thing to them. So they're sort of on a 24-hour clock. Which brings me to another point. We always tell our clients in those first few weeks, ignore the clock. Don't worry that it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. If baby wants to be awake, I know it's annoying to be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning for 3 hours, but they don't know that it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Can I just add too
Yeah.
that doesn't matter again, like you're saying about time, if it's 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. and you are able to sleep, take a little rest now because the baby's sleeping.
Yeah.
Who cares what time it is?
Yeah.
Like,
Don't worry if you're going to bed at 7 o'clock because that's when the
Yeah.
baby's going to sleep and you know you're going to get a 3 hour sleep. Just do it. Things start to work themselves out. So it's important also to learn the difference between babies' hunger cues and sleep cues and what their cries mean. Sleepy cues include yawning, rubbing their eyes, blank stare, fussing and turning their head. If you try to catch them early, it's much easier to get a calm baby to sleep than an overtired and fussy baby. And it can be very confusing in the beginning because they don't have much communication other than a few little cues and crying. So, and every baby is different. So you're going to, what you might have noticed in a first, second, or third child, fourth baby comes along and they might be a completely different personality, right? They only have 2 phases of sleep. They go straight to REM sleep and do that for half of their sleep cycle, and then non-REM is the other half of the sleep cycle. And different things happen during each of those sleep cycles. It's not until around 4 months, which again is our next talk, when those sleep cycles start to become a little more adult-like. They start to change a little bit. So we'll talk about that more at our next one.
just move us so you can see.
So obviously, like we said, all they want in this beginning few weeks is to be held, fed, changed, be comfortable. They love to be warm and snuggly. You're going to love it too, for the most part. So it's important also to have some help so that if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling overtired, the main thing is safety. We want you and your baby to be sleeping safe, like we mentioned in the beginning. And sometimes it's really hard to get that. Your baby only wants to sleep on you. But if it's not safe to sleep with them in your bed, then how do you achieve that sleep? So, some safety tips, stay awake and alert. Yes, that's really hard. So you need to have a backup plan. Ensure that the baby's always in a safe position. Their head and neck have to be supported. Their chin should be off their chest, making sure that their airway is clear, that their face is not obstructed at all. Sitting up, don't recline. So that means that you're sitting up and not reclined. Having support like a family member, postpartum doula, a partner, so that you can take shifts. Don't let your baby sleep in swings, bouncy chairs, or car seats. I know, guilty of that. When my kids were little, they'd fall asleep in the car seat and I just let them stay sleeping in there because sleep was sleep. But I didn't know the things that I know now. and you can do your own research on that, but basically it's better for their heads, better for their development physically, to not be sleeping in those things. It's still a hard, flat surface is the best place for them to sleep.
And it's going to happen once in a while. Of
Oh,
course,
of
they're going to
course,
fall
yeah.
asleep in those things, but it's just not something you want to do on a repetitive behavior.
Yeah.
That's not something you want to keep doing.
And another thing to note, it just kind of popped into my head too. A lot of babies, especially newborns, and we do recommend that sometimes the nap in a stroller is a good way to get a nap. But if you could have the kind of stroller where the baby can lay flat, they can do tummy time in there if they're awake
I
and be
think
looking
one's called the
around.
Uppa Baby. I think that's what Ashley has.
But if they're
Mhm.
you're going to
I
do a
do.
stroller nap, flat surface on their back as opposed to the stroller that's more inclined. That's just a safer way of doing it. And then avoiding overheating. Okay, you don't need to bundle them up too much. We don't want them overheating. So those are
Definitely, that'll be
yeah,
something coming up at this time of year.
yeah, yeah. So a little bit more about the sleep cycles and what you can actually expect and what happens and why it's important. A newborn sleep cycle, so half of it is REM, half of it is non-REM. It usually lasts anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. And then they tend to rouse a bit before they do another sleep cycle, which is where things kind of get tricky. Parents often think, oh, baby's waking up, I'm going to get them up, or they're waking up, but they might be hungry now. And as they age, you want to kind of be more aware of those things so that you're not always getting them up between sleep cycles and feeding too often. In the beginning, it's pretty much a crapshoot, but this is what their sleep looks like and why it's important. These are the things that happen. So during active sleep, it's a very light sleep. They're easily aroused. This is when dreaming happens. If you do the test to see if they're sleeping and you lift their limbs,
Floppy baby.
floppy baby, that's what they look like. They can twitch, their breathing is irregular sometimes, which in the beginning can be a little freaky. But this is also when memory, learning, and organization of the things that have happened to them during the day gets consolidated. It goes from short-term memory to long-term memory. And then the non-REM sleep is the quiet sleep. It's slow, regular breathing. Their muscles are more tense though, it's kind of weird. You'd think that would be in the other category. They're harder to wake. It's a restorative sleep, and this is when the growth hormone is released. Cellular repair happens, and your body conserves energy. So it's equally important to be getting both kinds of sleep cycles, both kinds of sleep in their sleep cycle, because different things happen during the different sleep cycles. So if they're always waking up and missing out on a certain portion of sleep, you will see that it will affect their development. And then at the very end of the sleep cycle, they might have that little wake up period where they're just quiet. They might think, oh, they've popped their eyes open and they're just in their crib or their bassinet, just kind of looking around. Give them a few minutes, okay? Yeah, and if you're trying to connect the sleep cycles, let's say if they've done their 30 to 50 minutes, they kind of have that quiet and awake phase for a second, just leave them be and see if they will go back to sleep on their own. And if not, we can discuss later if you have a question what to do during that time. Sleep environment. So, like we've said, the first few weeks, you're going to get any amount of sleep that you can, and it doesn't really matter if it's in the living room with the bassinet beside you, you're sleeping on the couch, if it's in the car, if it's in a stroller. But after a few weeks, you may choose to want to have the baby start sleeping in the space where they're always going to sleep eventually. So maybe it's putting them in the bassinet in their own room or putting them right into a crib in their own room, or room sharing with you up until about a year. It's your choice. If the room is dark, that helps. Like we said, with the melatonin, you can choose to use white noise or whatever kind of noise it seems like your baby likes. Start with where you're at right now and just sort of, if you think about what your long-term goals are, and we can always help you break it down into, okay, maybe my goal is just that baby spends 15 minutes in the bassinet in her room while I take a shower. things like that. It doesn't have to be one fell swoop. It shouldn't be one fell swoop. And then, yeah, like we said, working towards horizontal naps in a safe sleep space.
Okay.
Like we said, day and night confusion, totally normal. So things you can do to help with that in the daytime, expose them to natural light so that they do learn, oh yeah, it's light, I can be awake. And then when it's sleeping time, it's darker. It's springtime now, the weather's gorgeous. So going outside, it's much easier than in the wintertime. So getting them outside, being interactive and engaging. Don't minimize noise. So even if they are napping, you can run the vacuum cleaner, you can do the dishes, you can watch TV, you can do all the things you normally do. Using lots of tummy time, that's when they are, their brains are working really hard and their bodies are working hard during tummy time. So it helps them get tired. Trying to follow appropriate wake windows, which we'll talk about. They don't really matter in those first few weeks, but it is something you're going to eventually start looking for. Being consistent, feeding every 2 or 3 hours or on demand for a newborn still. And then at nighttime, we want things to be a little bit calmer, lower interaction, quieter, darker, signaling that, yeah, now it's nighttime.
And not even just at bedtime, when you're putting them to bed, but
Yeah.
kind of in the evening, have
Yeah.
a quieter
Have a
space.
quieter thing.
Yeah.
Ashley, did you have something to say?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard something.
It's either my dogs or Jack's.
Yeah, no
I think
problem.
it was just like an echo, but yeah.
So like we said, wake windows, those first few weeks, there's not really going to necessarily be any rhyme or reason to it. But after a while, you're going to start to notice what they can tolerate and when they are happiest. So a wake window is basically the total amount of time that they can tolerate being awake from the start of one nap to the start of the next nap. So from the end of one nap to the start of the next. So they wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and are ready for a nap at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's a 1 hour wake window. It's important because we want it to be age appropriate, but we also want it to be appropriate and individual to that baby. And the wake windows don't have to be consistent across the board. They might be awake for an hour in the morning, but then later in the afternoon, those wake windows might be longer or shorter. So really getting to know your baby's cues and your baby as an individual. Yes, it's nice to have schedules, but at this age, it's still more about a routine, and just really getting to know each other and learn them, so that you can do what's best for them. And it's important because we do want them to have the right amount of sleep for their age. Like we talked about in the slides previous of what happens during sleep, it's important for their development. There we go. So then eventually, now in the beginning, moms and dads, and everybody else who's going to be taking care of this baby may experience sleep deprivation. You're definitely going to be tired. So in the beginning, sleep deprivation, and we have a blog about this on our website as well. Mental health is really important to Amy and I, and that's sort of the underlying theme of everything that we do to support families. But sleep deprivation and mental health kind of go hand in hand. So moms and dads, parents, caregivers who are sleep deprived, obviously have difficulty concentrating. You're physically tired. You can experience memory loss, that brain fog, coordination difficulties. It can lead to anxiety and depression. You're irritable. Your appetite might change. You might think, oh, I don't feel like I'm so tired, I don't even want to eat, or I'm just snacking all the time, or I'm trying to fill this. You're eating the wrong things that don't necessarily fuel your body. With babies, they may try to avoid stimulation, have decreased energy, become prone to colds and illnesses, experience learning and memory challenges, cranky, irritable, and become overstimulated. So that's when things go on long term. Those are the kinds of things that can happen. Amy and I were both educational assistants for a number of years working with special needs kids and
In the elementary
in
school
the
system.
elementary school system, and not only special needs kids, but basically all kids. You could pinpoint which children did not get enough sleep just based on their behavior. Toddlers, you see those clingy kids having meltdowns in the grocery store. They're overstimulated. They become uncoordinated, hyper, difficulty with emotional regulation, and then behavioral problems. Over time, for everyone, weakened immune system, hormonal imbalances, weight gain, depression, heart disease, blood pressure. So there's all these physical things that can happen. There's a lot of mental things that can happen, but then the most important thing is that safety things can happen. So it can be dangerous. Driving when you are sleep deprived is probably just as dangerous as driving impaired. It is an impairment.
I think there's actually studies on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do things like, I don't know, you forget things like, or you can't react as fast, it can just be a lot of safety issues because you can't react as quickly, or you forget things. Yeah, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And then, of course, sleep associations. We're not too worried about creating bad habits in those first few weeks because you're going to do what you can do to get some sleep and for your baby to get some sleep. But eventually, sometimes we create habits that eventually we realize are taking too much time,
Not
or
sustainable.
they're not sustainable, or they're not healthy. So anything that you do to get your baby to sleep will become an association. You do something predictably a number of times, they start to predict that this is the result, right? This is what's going to happen. So things like feeding to sleep, rocking to sleep, bouncing to sleep, doing all the things. And then you think, okay, the baby's asleep. Now I'm going to put the baby down and oh crap, they woke up and I have to start doing it all over again. So eventually the less that you do, even if you're doing all of those things and you decide, okay, we're going to chip at this one thing at a time to try to get baby to be a more independent sleeper, that's going to help them in the end.
And as a postpartum doula, that's what I find I do
Mhm.
a lot of. If I start with a family whose baby I'm doing all the bouncing, sleeping, rocking things, then that's what I do. I chip away, I slowly remove, maybe I remove the bouncing and now I'm just padding, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. So
Yeah.
just slowly taking those away.
Yeah. No rush for any of that. People often ask us, what is the best age to sleep train a baby? We like to call it sleep coaching because we're really coaching the families.
Yeah.
It's when you're ready. Not too early, absolutely not too early, but it's when you're ready. If you say at 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, you know what, my baby only sleeps on me and
I
I need a change, then great. So following a consistent routine, including that sleep environment, all of those things will just help create healthier, happier sleepers.
Mhm.
Okay, so when your baby's upset, we call it the 5 S's. It's swaddling. If your baby is not rolling yet, being on their stomach helps a lot. Sucking, pacifier if you choose to use it, or encouraging them to self-soothe, swinging or swaying, and shushing. Those are all some things that you can do to help a fussy baby.
So the stomach doesn't mean putting them down on their stomach. It sometimes would be like the
A
football
position that you
hold.
hold them
Yeah,
in.
that you're holding them. So they could be kind of upside. I wish I had a baby, but I don't. Upside down on your arm and kind of
Mhm.
swinging and swaying that way. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean put them down in their crib on their stomach.
Yeah. Or
Could
if
have borrowed Jack's.
Yeah. If you're putting it, or if you want to put the baby down on their stomach because they're more comfortable or they're upset, you're still using that firm surface, but you're awake and watching them. It's okay. And some babies naturally kind of go to their stomach, or you might put them on their stomach for a few minutes to help them soothe, and then you're rolling them to their back for the rest of the sleep. But you're always watching when they're on their stomach. It's not unsupervised. Or like Amy said, that position of holding the baby
just getting them
on their
calm
stomach.
before you
Yeah.
work on trying to get them to sleep
Yeah,
then.
exactly. Okay, and then next steps when you're ready, like we said, if you need help, we are here to help you. Sleep is, like we said, mental health is our underlying theme for whatever we do, but sleep coaching is it's my passion.
Hand in hand.
And those two things go hand in hand. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your goals are individual. One family's goals might be different from another family's goals. One family's goals might be like, oh, we're so busy in the day, we don't really care about naps, but we want our baby sleeping through the night. Or vice versa. Whatever your goals are, we can work with that. Some things that you're going to start to do in the meantime as baby gets older, starting a healthy routine. Having full feeds in the day really helps. Starting with one horizontal nap or one 15-minute in the crib, bassinet or playpen by yourself. Using positive sleep associations. So that's a routine. When we do this, this, and this, like read a book, change your diaper, sing a song, that means you're going to go to sleep next using small steps. It can take a very long time, and that's okay. Being consistent is the number one thing. Believing in yourself and your baby, okay? Don't go in with it with a negative attitude of, oh, this is never going to work.
And it's probably not going to work the first time, right?
No.
Like everything
Yeah.
is small steps.
Yeah.
You can't just try something once and say, oh, well, it didn't work. You got to give it
Yeah.
more of a chance than
Yeah.
that.
And if you do slip up, like, so what? No big deal. You just try again the next snap, or you've had a shitty day, then try again the next day. Um, and if you feel like you need some help, get some help. And cut yourself some slack. That's pretty much it. Parenting is a really rough journey. Every family is individual, every baby is individual. We don't think it helps to compare. We do have data that helps support what we do, but always considering your family's individual needs and personalities and values just makes everybody more successful. So.
And that's the presentation.
Yeah, that's the presentation part done. If you have questions, please ask. This is being recorded, so you can always reach out to us with questions. Our website is right here. We do free consultations. So if you have a question about something or you want to know more about our services, please reach out.
Do you have any questions, Ashley?
Um,
I can't see you now, though.
wait, why?
Like a blur.
Yeah, it's like a blur.
Well, it's weird because I
Mm. Now I can't hear you.
Now, yeah, it went mute too.
there
Now,
we go.
now you're not muted.
Usually I can see my own screen too, but I can't. Maybe if you stop screen sharing for a
Okay,
second.
let me do that. Stop.
Oh, that's because it's flipped. You're looking at my water bottle.
There we go.
I was like, why is it so?
Okay, I haven't showered. It's great. Oh, that's funny. It's like
Oh,
it's just a
do you need
blur.
a postpartum doula to come back?
Yeah. No, no.
See, this
10
is
and a
what
half
we're
last night
talking about. Oh, awesome.
And Jax is 12 weeks, right?
on Sunday he will be.
12 weeks on Sunday.
It
Awesome.
was our first day trying the crib for a nap and
Him.
he's
Yay.
asleep. But during your presentation, he did start to cry a little bit. I left him, but then after like 10 minutes, I went in and I just like rocked him a bit. And then I saw his eyes closing again. So then I put him back in and now he's fast asleep.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yay.
10 and a half hours last night. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I went in and put the soother in maybe twice, but that was like a quick 2 minutes and he
Awesome.
was back. Yeah.
That's great.
Now, for other people who are watching the recording of this, Jax is only 12 months. That's
12 weeks.
12 weeks.
sorry, 12 weeks. So that's not, I'm going to not say that this is not common.
Yeah.
He's a very special baby.
We did have Amy's help though, and Amy really helped us. So
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that, like we said, and any other postpartum doula or any other, like whoever your support is great, but we have the training also to incorporate those healthier habits just because, right? Like
Yeah.
Amy didn't charge you more than, a different postpartum doula who's not incorporating those skills. Like, um,
Right.
so we just naturally do those kinds of things. Obviously, in line with what the family's values are. Like Amy, we wouldn't come in and start, imposing our own beliefs on a family, or, like if the mom always wants contact naps, that's fine. We'll contact nap your baby. But if they express some interest in, hey, how can you help me with these things? That's what we're going to do. So having that extra training in the sleep,
And
I think just makes us more valuable.
I'm gonna use you as an example, Ashley, because when
Yeah.
I started there,
1000%. Yeah.
how many weeks was Jax when I came? Do you remember? Three,
4,
four? Four.
3, 4,
Yeah,
three,
somewhere around
like
there.
3.5, 4 weeks. Because you came the second week of March, and he was born February 11th.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day after Sophia. Yeah. So Ashley said to me, I said, "Are you swaddling him?" And she said, "He doesn't like it."
Mhm.
And I said, "Okay, we're gonna try again." Because
Yep.
you'd only tried a couple times, and
Yep.
we did some different things with swaddling too. We
Hmm.
using a muslin blanket, I think, at first, which
Yep.
maybe I think we did that. I think I did use that a couple nights and it was okay. But then what we did was we switched to a Halo sleep sack.
That was a
Which
swaddle.
was,
Yeah.
it was a swaddle. So it was like a sleep sack with the zipper. Like I think a lot of people are familiar with these, but then it had the Velcro to go around and swaddle his arms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I suggested to Ashley, let's try this because if he really doesn't like the swaddle part, with the Halo style, you can just put the Velcro underneath their arms too. So if he really didn't like it, she could still use it
Mhm.
Yeah.
as a sleep sack then because the Velcro
Yeah.
would just be underneath.
Yeah.
And he loved it
He did.
being swaddled.
Mhm.
So at night he is being swaddled. Now you mentioned a bit about swaddling versus not swaddling. So something Ashley and I have kind of talked about. Jax seemed to be a very active sleeper
Mhm.
Oh,
and
yes.
waking himself up too much.
Mhm.
So we've kind of talked and
Mhm.
decided swaddle him at night.
Hmm.
Don't swaddle him for naps.
And a lot of people do that, and that's exactly the point, is that, okay, if one thing doesn't work, well, first of all, how many times have you tried it?
Hmm.
Second, let's try something else. Like there's probably 10 kinds of swaddles on the market.
Oh, I think we tried them all before
Yeah,
Amy came on.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if your values are that babies must be swaddled, we are going to eliminate the startle reflex so that they sleep. That's one side of the coin. The
Right.
other side is let's let them startle so they can start to work it out themselves. So
Mhm.
whatever you want to do, we don't care,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because there's no specific research that says one way or the other way is like it's not black and white is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
There's good research for both ways, I
There's
think.
good
And
research
I'm
for
Yeah.
both.
more and more now about the not
Yeah.
swaddling,
Yeah.
but I think again, a time and a place, right?
Yeah.
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 This boy was very, very active and was
Mhm.
like waking himself up every 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
He
Yeah.
was not getting the rest that he
Yeah.
needed, right? So
Yeah.
that we had to make some changes.
Yeah. And some, as they start to self-soothe, some babies self-soothe with their hands and their fingers. So you want the arms out, or maybe one arm out. Other babies will like kick their legs or like do the up and down. So if their arms are in, it doesn't really matter.
Or
And again,
turn their
turning
head,
their
right?
heads.
Which is what he does.
He
Again,
rocks himself to sleep
yeah,
now.
it's
Yep.
individual,
Well, and
right?
the other thing he struggled with in the beginning, she said he hates his bassinet.
Oh,
That was true. This
yep.
boy did not want to sleep in his bassinet. We
Nope.
tried several times again, even when I was there. So we went ahead and put
Straight
him
to
in
the
his
crib.
crib.
Yeah.
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 And now look, he slept 10 and a half hours last night. And again, that doesn't happen every night,
Mhm.
but
No.
he just is much more comfortable in his crib.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's not in Ashley's room because the crib doesn't fit in her
Mhm.
room.
Hmm.
Sometimes things don't always,
Exactly.
you kind of have to just
You do the best you
do the
can
best
with
you
what you
can.
have,
Yeah.
and you know that overall he's safe. Some parents get a better sleep when the baby is not in their room. And then some people, if you're using a monitor, again, that's another choice. If you want to have the monitor, sometimes it makes people anxious. And they should be sleeping. The adults should be sleeping, but they're just
Just
busy
staring at the
watching the
screen.
monitor, making
You're
sure the
guilty of
baby's
that.
okay.
Not so much anymore, though.
Yeah. So again, individual.
Yeah.
I don't care
Yeah.
if you use it or not. You'll hear your baby cry when they need you.
Yeah.
For some people, it's extra reassurance, and for other people, it's causes anxiety. So you do what's best for your family.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, today when I put him in his crib for his nap, I put him in the sleep sack with the arms out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First time we've tried that, and he loves it. He's been asleep 25 minutes now.
Yeah.
Good.
So usually
Yeah.
he's either contact napping or next to you on the couch for naps during the day, right? Yeah.
Uh,
So today's
More so contact napping, like on my chest. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we just chatted a little bit about sleep together yesterday or the day before. I can't remember
Yeah.
when we were messaging each other. And yeah, so that was my recommendation. Let's try for that first nap. He's still only 12 weeks, but let's just
Right.
try and
Yeah.
see what happens. And if you
Yeah.
have to nap rescue, then, but like you just said, it's been 25 minutes. So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
A wonderful example of individuality, getting to know your baby, trying things, and just,
Yeah.
and having support, right? You've got that. If you didn't have Amy, who would you be asking for help, right? You're going to be
I'd be
searching.
screwed. No, I'd be screwed.
You'd be trying to read books, or you'd ask somebody who has outdated information, or you get on that horrible train of, oh, well, what are all the other moms doing? What are the
Yes.
TikTok
Yeah.
moms doing? And their babies all sleep perfect, and they've got, their nails are perfectly done, and they
Which
look
just makes you feel,
fantastic, and
and
then it makes you feel like shit because you're like, well, why can't I do that?
and
They
it's
Yeah.
it's funny that you bring this up because last week's session, Ashley joined with Amber and Victoria
Yeah.
as well,
Mhm.
and we talked about that whole Pinterest perfect mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a topic that we kind of hoped would come up more
Mhm.
often, which you just brought it up
Yeah.
because the social media we do tend to compare
There's so much
ourselves to
pressure.
others, and there's so
Mhm.
much pressure.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what all you moms really need to do is just get on this mighty network and
Yeah.
check
That-
out what's happening.
yeah.
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 Oh, it's been a saving grace
Good.
finding you guys. So
Listen, but you've also made an effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say one of my pet peeves is parents who say, well, I don't know what to do. That's okay,
Mhm.
but seek the information
Try
or
different things.
try different things or try making connections, or when free classes are offered, take them,
Yeah.
right?
Ashley does a lot of that.
I know, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is that you're
Yeah.
such a great mom because you're making such an effort. Because sometimes people get into that, oh, woe is me, like, but they don't do anything about it, right? It's like
Yeah.
me and dieting, like, oh, I know what I need to do. I just don't do it. So who do I have to blame? Myself.
Yeah.
So it's,
Maybe
and
maybe there's a free dieting group out there for us.
oh,
I
there
don't know.
probably is. The truth is, I don't really care that much anymore. Right? I'm not Pinterest perfect. I accept that about myself.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
my mental
Yes, you
health
are
is,
doing an amazing job, and
yeah.
some people that probably can be hard for them to like you're doing everything, like you're going to all the classes, but even if it's one, even if you
Mhm.
listen to this session or last week's session or next week's, or like I know you did the online, it's the Mint program, right? Like
Yep.
there's lots of free things out there for sure.
There
Like,
is, yeah.
if
And
you're
like
doing
I
that,
didn't just do this right off the bat. Like I hit a really hard
you
mental
did.
wall.
Yeah.
And I was scared to leave the house. I was scared to be home alone with him. And then I just kind of tried different things and I reached out to like different programs and early
Yeah.
ons and we go out every day now.
And
So
you got sleep.
yes,
Got
that was my
sleep.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so sleep deprived, and then
Yeah.
my mental health was so bad, and so once the sleep started improving, then that made me a happier mom and wanted to do things with him and socialize him,
It
and
improved the brain fog to be able to
yeah,
seek
a
out.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wake up happy now. I used to wake up and like dread the day. Or I used to like dread when it would be nighttime, like get so much anxiety when the sun goes down. I know a lot of moms are like that too, because you never know what you're going to expect
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
But I just kind of put in a foundation now that he know like it's a little routine, but he gets it. And yeah, so cross our fingers it lasts.
Mhm.
And you know what? If it doesn't, so this is the thing. People will often, like with the sleep coaching we do, a lot of people have a sleep coach their babies when they're 4 to 6 months old. But then, things go along swimmingly. And then next thing you know, you travel to another country, baby gets sick, baby gets teeth, baby goes from sleeping in a crib where they're contained all night to all of a sudden, oh, I don't have walls around me anymore and I
I'm
can
in a
get out of bed
bed.
whenever I want
Mhm.
to. All kinds of things happen. But if you start with a strong foundation, and you use
Yeah.
the word foundation, if you have a strong foundation, it gives you the confidence to know, okay, this is just another, you know, twist in the road. We have done hard things before and we can do them again. Um,
Yeah.
and you just set those boundaries and you stick with it and you get help, what you do at 4 or 6 months, if you decide to do sleep coaching, the approach is going to be the underlying theme, like I said, is setting boundaries, building your confidence, being consistent, but the situations change. So when you have that strong foundation, you know that whatever situation comes along, okay, we might need a little help, but yes, we can tackle this.
Mhm.
um you know so yeah.
And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
I even
I
when I
love.
take him to my mom's house, she
Yeah.
doesn't have a crib at her house.
Yeah.
So he gets put in like a 1950s wicker basket,
Hmm.
literally.
Hmm.
And because we have that foundation in place, where it's like we take a bath every second night, but it's honestly it's like playtime,
Hmm.
pajamas, or no,
Hmm.
pajamas, sorry, playtime, read him a book, do a little bit of tummy time, bottle, and he knows right in bed.
Yep.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I do that same thing, whether it's at my house or a different house,
Yeah.
and he knows. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sleep
It's, yeah,
associated.
you're right. It's built when Amy was saying like you got to build the foundation, like you really do. And a
Mhm.
lot of people think that you can't leave your house and
Mhm.
it has to happen at your house. No,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to because you just keep that foundation and those
Yeah.
steps and yeah.
Exactly. And then, for example, as they get older, you're going to go places and you're going to do things that are going to
Yeah.
put you off schedule.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe once a week they have swimming on Wednesday morning at nap time. Well, guess what? They might fall asleep and the schedule might be off for the rest of the day. But the next day, because they have that strong foundation, the next day, everything's back to normal,
Yeah.
and you can't be tied to like being housebound or now, being stuck at home all the time, but
Yeah.
it makes them flexible. They know they can trust you, all those things.
And I make all the noise when he sleeps.
Yeah.
And I
He
think that
he will
that,
sleep through anything.
which is, yeah, he does. He slept through drumming, didn't he?
Yeah, one of the early ones was an indigenous
Yes.
presentation, and she was drumming, and he fell asleep.
Yeah.
We had the landscapers come by,
Right.
big lawnmower going through, sleeping.
But when Elizabeth mentioned that earlier on, I was thinking about that. And it's good, especially for first time parents too, like first
Yeah,
babies, because if you happen to end up having other children, there's always going to be noise happening in the house, right? So
yeah,
better to get them used to sleeping through anything, well, maybe not anything, but through
yeah.
usual noises throughout the day, because as your family grows, there's a good
Yeah.
chance there's going to be more noise.
Oh
So,
yeah,
And that brings up another thing. So when a child gets a sibling, yeah, there's going to be all kinds of noise for both of the siblings, but also maybe they need to share a room at some point. Or for parents who have multiples, we get often asked, like for twins, okay, but what if, you're trying to do sleep coaching but what if one baby is always waking the other baby up? They get used to it.
mhm.
yeah.
So, we
Well,
just.
every second weekend he shares a room with my stepson Levi, who's
Yes.
10.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I say to Levi, I said you can go in and like obviously don't when it's bedtime go to bed, but don't yeah.
Mhm.
And when he wakes up and he's making noise, like Jackson's still sleeping, so
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
My niece and nephew share, and they are 5 years apart, I think it is 4 or 5 years apart. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any questions, or you're set up pretty good, I think? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like really shocked that he's been sleeping this long.
Well, you should be.
I'm gonna vacuum my house now.
Do it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Floors, I can't wait.
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
had 10 hours of sleep last night, so you don't need a nap.
Funny because he gets the long stretches and then I have like a headache, so I'm up every hour anyways because my head's pounding. But it's like my allergies, the sinuses. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So it's
know
the
you don't
pressure that's
always
keeping me up. Yeah.
get the sleep
And
anyway.
then I look and I'm like, "Are you awake? Can we spend some time together?" No, he's still sleeping. Okay.
Maybe you should have been vacuuming in the middle of the night then.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Chat with
We'll
us.
see you at the next one next week.
Yes, next Friday.
Yeah,
Good.
Dax will be getting closer
Closer
to
to
that
that,
age.
yeah.
But you're basically, I mean, you're kind of our poster child for like, okay, this is, I mean, it started out rough, like you said, and
It
then you
was the
learned
worst.
things
Yeah.
and you applied the things that you learned, and now,
Yeah.
from there on, like I can't imagine, people that wait and they always wait to see if things will get better, right?
Yeah.
Then so
I
much
couldn't
time
wait.
goes
No.
by, yeah,
Yeah.
so much time goes by, it makes it harder in the long run. Like if you go 2 years or 3 years before implementing any kind of sleep routine,
And it's not to say that they can't still be implemented at that age, but oh, sorry,
Something just
something
fell
fell
over.
over. But it's obviously easier to start
Yeah.
it sooner,
Yeah.
which is why
Building that foundation for sure. And I
And
would
that's-
recommend that to anyone. Yeah.
that's why one reason why we did this, because we have actually a class that we offer that we call Sleep Foundations. We may change the title, but anyway, that's what this is about. And so
Yeah.
when we spoke to Amber about this mighty network that she has, Empowered in Health, she invited us if we'd like to speak on here, and we said absolutely.
Mhm.
Let's do our talk about sleep on there.
Well,
So
it's been life-changing for Jax and I, so I
Good.
applaud you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's just going to be a happier, healthier baby, right?
Yeah. And he really is like, yeah.
He's so cute. He's so
Thanks.
cute.
yeah, I don't know if it's still on your story. I'll have to check, but he was chatting away to her yesterday. It was so
Aw.
cute. It might have been the
Aw.
day before, so it could be gone, but
He's
I'll
up.
send you the video.
Yeah.
He's getting
Yeah.
to that age where they really start to have a
Yeah.
personality,
Yeah.
and
Oh my God, does he ever?
I miss him so
yeah,
much.
you're getting stuff back from them now as opposed
Yes.
to
Oh
giving
my gosh,
and
yes.
giving. You're getting those reactions,
Mhm.
and it's just
Yeah.
more rewarding, right?
Yeah,
It's the best. Yeah.
Awesome.
he's the best.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have an amazing day. Update us
Yes,
about how the rest of this nap goes.
I will. And happy Mother's Day to you guys.
Oh,
too.
thank you. You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Is that it?
Did that pause the recording?